Hello, welcome along. Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and here we are back, part 15 now of the build of this beautiful Pocher 1/8 scale Porsche 917K in Golf livery. Absolutely beautiful. So in part 14 we got all this back end together, and now it's finally starting to look like a car instead of a load of sub-assemblies. And we did the drive shafts, we got the rubber donuts on. And then we went on. We also noticed on the instructions here, it's calling for water decals 10 and 11. I've had a look, and they're actual, they are black decals. They're like a black strip that goes along here and along here. Now, I'm going to leave them off for now, because what I'm concerned about is when the body comes down, we've got this light blue and the orange, and I'm worried we're going to get a thick black line in there or something. Maybe they're supposed to be black line. We'll have a look. But I think I'd rather paint that anyway, if I'm going to do that. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I can put those decals on at any time, so we'll leave those off for now. So this is what we did last time. I've yet to glue these pieces in here yet. I've repainted them black. If you remember, they were already black. I painted them grey and then realised they should have been black, so I've had to repaint them. So they can get glued in, and we've done all that. So next up is looking at step 21. We're going to start building up the rear suspension. Now there's a couple of anomalies here that I want to talk about. If you haven't built yours yet, then there's a good little tip coming your way. You will see here on the bottom of the shock absorber it says DCD 3A. When you come to do the front suspension, it says DCD 3. DCD is a plastic tray where these parts come, and you can see here we've got DCD 3. Yeah, you can see DCD 3 written there, and there's 4 pockets. There's no A mentioned or anything, so you just take 2 out and you use them, because you don't know about the A until you get to step 21, and you're currently working on step 9 doing your front end. Well, I remembered that the on the front end we actually screw into like a stabilizer, and I noticed that the screw was also threading into the bottom of the shock absorber as well. So I had a look, and these parts, this is the DCD 3 part here, and what I noticed was on these uprights, okay, a 1.5mm screw will actually slide into there, and it would also slide through the DCD 3, which I had. So I thought what I'll do is I'll check, go in that side actually. So what I'll do is I'll check, and sure enough, I've taken these out of the front suspension and replaced them. So make a note in your instructions, guys, if you haven't already. DCD 3A has a smaller hole than DCD 3. DCD 3 will allow an M1.5 screw to pass through it. DCD 3A won't. So the rear shock absorber uses a smaller hole here. Okay, so if you got this one, you haven't got there yet, or you're getting the Martini one, I'm not sure if Pocher have found this yet and put it in their instructions, but anyway, worth taking note. Okay, so there we are. So what we can do now is slide that big old beast out of the way, and we can have a look at what we're going to be working on. So that's a real big one to remember. What you might want to do is see which one's which, and then put an A in there to remind you in case you forget when you get to that step. But there we go. So what we're going to do now, we've got our screws, we've got our instructions, we've got loads of screws to use here. So we've got our big box of screws. Let's slide that over there a little bit more. There we go. So the lid doesn't want to stay open on my screw box. So we've got our parts here. We've got our discs, which I've painted the holes in black. Oh, there was something else I want to talk about. We have to put screws in here. Okay, this is this end of this arm. There's an A screw going in there, which is M1.5. That hole isn't drilled all the way through. Well, it wasn't on mine. So what I've done is actually drilled it and tapped it because it's smaller. And that will enable me to put the screw in and then position the arm and then wind the screw in, because we've got to get the screws into a very, I'll show you in a minute, into a very, very difficult point. So we've got our uprights here. We've got our brake calipers. There's 1, there's 2. There's our drive shafts that we've previously built, so they're ready to go on. And then we've got those two plastic parts which I won't worry about. We've got some springs here. These are SP4. And then we've got the main shock absorber bodies here. And then we've got the other lower shock absorber body there. And then we've got the links for the anti-roll bar here. And we've got the anti-roll bar itself there. So we've got everything there. All I've got left in there now is those two plastic pieces to glue in. In fact, I'm going to glue those in now because I'm going to be struggling to get them to go in once that suspension arm's in. But what we'll do is we'll build this upright up first to get. We'll build the both uprights up to get the bench clear, and then we'll go from there. So we need to get ourselves armed with some screwdrivers. We've got some screwdrivers there. So what we're going to do is build up this one here. So this is that one there. So this is the right side. Okay. And then we want the disc which is going to go that way. So the actual the holes are forming a fan rather than stabbing into the brake. In fact, no, we're going to have it the other way. We're going to have it that way. That's right. That's right. Yeah. So it's forming a fan. That's okay. Yeah. Right. So I was looking at the front brake then and thinking, hang on, but I'm looking at it going the wrong way. Idiot. So that's that one, and then we've got the brake caliper here. They're the same side to side, and then we've got this arm here, which is going to be. It looks like they're actually identical. So that's okay. So we'll put that one over there. We'll put that one on here. We've got the vertical link there. We've got a spring, a shock body, and the bottom of the shock here. Okay. I tell you guys, getting those screws out of that front shock absorber assembly when it was all built up was an absolute utter nightmare. So that's that done. So there we go, and then we've got parts for the other side there ready to go. So let's get this together. So what we've got to do here is grab two A screws. So we'll have two of these little ones here. 1, 2. We'll get ourselves loaded with that screw on there. And then what we can do is plonk the disc on. Oh dear, this screwdriver isn't very magnetic, unfortunately. Plonk the disc on, and then what we'll do is we'll drop that screw into there. And we will screw it in. I've previously cut threads and everything where there's a screw going in, because this is all metal. There we go, so that's going to screw into there, like so. Blimey, these screws are a bit long for this, I think. Cool, that's tight going in there. Obviously I didn't tap it deep enough. It's not clamping it. I think these screws are too long. Which is always a bind. Come on, go in. Wind up, that's it. There you go. Yeah, that one's gone in lovely, look. But even though the screw is bottomed out, it's still not holding the caliper, so we need to drill those holes out and tap the threads deeper. Back in a sec. Alright, so I've got a 1.2mm drill here, so we can go in and just drill this hole out a little bit deeper. You might be better off with a motor tool. Might be better off going in with a smaller drill first, actually, because it's some of this stuff drills out really easy and some of it is a real pain. Let's go in with a smaller drill. So let's go in with like a 0.2 0.95. It may be that 1.2mm drill is a bit blunt. These drills are getting on a bit now. I'll have to get myself a new set. So we go in like that. Drill this out. Nope, it's not wanting to know it. It's obviously harder than some of the other metal in the kit. Of course, the other thing you could do is just shorten the screws, but then you run the risk of damaging the thread at the end. So it's annoying. I just wish there's been an issue with this all the way through. I mean, there's those screw Ds there which are 1.5 shorter, but we don't know if we're going to need them going through. So we don't want to use them all up. But maybe if I can tap them a bit deeper, maybe that'll help. But it's oh, yeah, that's not helping at all. So they're going to have to be drilled out or grind the end of the screws off, because as you can see, once I put that screw into there and wind it in, it is going to pinch it now. That's okay then, so maybe just that extra bit of thread cutting, or maybe it did drill a bit of depth out. But we'll just look at this one as well. Yeah, you see that one's still not deep enough. So yeah, I'm going to have to drill them out, use a motor tool, and I'll see you back when that's done. Right, we got there in the end. Blimey. I ended up using those horrible carbide drills in the little power tool. So there we go. So that's that one there. So once again, we'll go back to the start. We'll put the disc on. We'll fit the caliper. Just like so. Right. So that's that done. Now next we're going to add this arm on the top. Okay, so that's going to go in there. So we need an F screw for that one. So we'll grab an F screw. There we go. Again, this has already been tapped. I've cut the threads. So we're going to put that one in there. Notice these holes are oval in the top. That's to allow for the suspension to move. Having said that, the springs are so strong. I think this will bottom out this screw, which is intentional. Will it bottom out? Yeah, that screw's bottomed out and it's still got some movement in it. That's what you want. Okay, so that's that one. And then we've got this vertical link. Now you've got a flat end and a radius end. It's the radius end that's going to go in here. And once again, we're going to use another one of those little tiny A screws. Stick that at the end of there. And then this is going to go into here. And the actual thread is in the arm. It's not threading into the body. So the thread is actually in this arm. Or in that shaft, should I say. Okay, so we'll put that in. And we don't want it done up solid, we want movement in it, so we'll just come back a touch. There we go, we've got movement. As long as it's got some movement in it, that's fine. So that's that. And then this is in turn going to fit onto the body. What I'm going to do is make the other one up first. So I'm just going to basically repeat what I've just done. Oh, we've got to put this in as well, sorry. We've got to fit our shock absorber. So this is another A screw required. I'm kind of wondering if we're going to have enough of these A screws. So this, we'll just take the bottom off. In fact, we'll put the screw in with our fingers because I need to remagnetize the screwdriver. So that's going to go in there. And then this is going to screw into Maybe that's tight. Oh, the bloody screwdriver's slipping now. That is ever so tight. I don't know why it's that tight. It's already had a screw in it once. Maybe the screw is dodgy. There we go. It's gone through now. I wouldn't be surprised actually if the thread was damaged from when I got it out, because as I say, there's so much bloody pressure on those screws, on those with those springs. That's probably what happened there. But bear in mind, as I say, remember these rear ones, the rear shock absorber base, the hole is smaller than the front ones, and all they refer it to in the instructions is DCD3A. And there's no indication on the part. Why is that so tight going in there? You've just seen me screw that into it. This is absolutely crazy. I'm going to turn the camera off, because as soon as I turn the camera off it'll go fine. Maybe if I turn it around. Oh, I don't even know which way it was now. Arrgh! This is absolutely bloody mental. There we are, it's going in now. It's good in a way that it is tight, because it's got to have movement in it. And but that tightness is acting like a thread locking mechanism. Right, so there we go. So that's that done. There's our vertical link. So we'll get our drive shaft in and fit that. But before that, I'm going to build up this other one. See you back in a minute. Right, so got the other one built up, and I've got those pieces glued in there. Nicely done. Right, so we've got this unit here to go in now. We've also got this anti-roll bar, and if you notice on here, they tell you just drop that in there. More on that later. I haven't dry fitted it yet, but I'm sure it doesn't just drop on the top. So what we've got is some F screws over here. So we've got 4 F screws, because we've got, I don't know why I've got 4, I only need 3. So I'll put one aside. So we've got 2 in the bottom, and then we've got 1 going in there. Oh, and then we've got an A screw going in here as well. So I need to get an A screw out. So I may as well put that F screw back away. I get another A screw out. There we go. Right, so that's all the screws we need. So, as I say, I haven't dry fitted any of this, so I'm not sure how it's all going to work. So what I'm going to do here is, with this arm, I'm going to fit this A screw. That's the right side, and that's the outside. I'm going to fit this A screw into here and thread it in. Okay. Thread it in, not go all the way. You see now, this is what's annoying me. You've just seen me have to drill these calipers because the A screws are too long. Now we get to here, and we can see we've got this major part. I need to cut that thread a bit better, but that screw is in no way long enough, and I'm just looking here where it goes. Is it actually going to be able to go in there? Is the A screw actually correct? No, is the answer. The A screw is not correct, because where they're telling us to screw it in, which is here, you can see the screw is just falling in there. So I think the intention was to screw it in from the back side, but there's just no way that's going to happen because you can't get in there. It makes me want to go and look at the Pocher video and see what they did. I would imagine actually it'll probably stay there on its own because it can't do that. I need to somehow get that screw out of there. There we go. So that is the A screw. I don't think that's correct at all. You can see we've got an A screw going in here. But there's just no way it should go in from the other side, and there's no way you're going to get a screwdriver in there. So it's probably one of those, you know, this is the problem with CAD. It's easy to draw on the screen. It's not so easy when it comes to actually physically doing it. So what I'm going to do here is grab my tap. I'm sorry about this, guys. If I dry built everything before we videoed, it would take me hours and hours and hours to make the bloody videos. And to be quite honest, I don't expect things like this to happen. Okay, so there's that one. I've got a feeling we might have some dodgy screws in there, because as you can see, that tap just went in there beautifully. So we will attempt to put this screw in again from the outside. I've got a feeling this is just going to act like a peg, just to sort of peg it in place. It's really strange. It's got really tight at the top, so it's probably got a problem with the thread at the top. As I say, I had to drill this out because the thread wasn't deep enough. Now, so basically that's going to go in there like that. This link needs to be up. So we've got this arm here is going to go into that slot there. All right, I know you can't really see this very well, but it's become so big and cumbersome. And then we've got an eye screw. That is the eye screw. Just going to check that's going to screw in there. Yes, it is. So that is basically going to go in there. That's going to peg into there like that. Okay, there is an issue with these. Okay, they're handed because there's an angle on here. So I obviously got the parts mixed up. I'm dropping all bollocks today, aren't I? So that one is going to go on this side. So we want this one. So we'll keep it and its screw. We'll put that one over there. And what we will do is put that screw in there that way up. And you can see what it is. It's the angle on here. You can see the angle of that. This arm is coming down. So that's the difference. So now you know that as well. So hold this together like so. Get that screw into there. It will bottom out, which is cool, and that will still have movement in it. And then need another A screw. Oh dear, it's like watching paint dry, this, isn't it? Need another A screw. To go into here. From the outside in. There we go. Okay, and then this vertical link needs to be up, so that is going to sit in there. That's going to sit in there like that. There's nothing to stop that coming out of there. I just hope it's going to be okay. I'm also looking at this now. I was intending to put that shock absorber in after, but that's going to be extremely difficult. So I think we'll put that shock absorber on there now. Get the shaft to line up. Okay. So perhaps what we'll do, that is an F screw going in there. Perhaps what we'll do is put the shock absorber in first, like so. Okay, so we've got that screw in there in the end. So now this has got to go, that shock absorber needs to go on. In fact, what I think I'll do, I'll put this drive shaft in the hub first. That's better, right. So we can have this arm here, this upper arm out of the way. We can slot that. If I have that out of the way, will I be able to swing it round? We shall see. We'll get our spring to go in. Okay, so there's our spring and shock absorber gone in. Then we need to put the end of that screw in there into that hole. We've got bloody pipes breaking off every 2 seconds because of this horrible silicone hose. And then we've got to get that shaft to go into that rubber donut. Remember, I didn't want to glue any of this together, this shaft assembly. So it's got to tip up and go in. I know, guys, you can't see a bloody thing, can you? I'm sorry. And the truth be known, neither can I. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Right, this is awkward. Now, that wants to come apart. I don't know why. Oh, it's because the shock absorber is trying to push it out. Okay, so that, oh dear, dear, dear. Right, that upper screw, that is an eye screw. I'm going to see if I can get that one in. And that'll at least hold the top together. So that one will go in there. Oh, come on. Okay, finally, we got the screw to go into the hole. If I had longer screwdrivers, it would help. But I mean, kind of wonder if there could have been a different build sequence that would have made this all a bit easier. Okay, we've got a bit of a touch up to do there where the screwdriver's been rubbing on there. So now we've got to get a couple of F screws in underneath. So we'll lift this up on its side, we'll push that up like that. I should have armed the screwdriver. Look at this bloody swine. That one can go in there. I'm not really too worried about suspension movement because these springs are so strong that there's really no suspension movement anyway. Okay, so that's gone in there, that's gone in there. Right, do we have any suspension movement? Yeah, you can see it's absolutely solid. So that's screwed in, that's staying in there by the look of it, so that's fine, as long as you don't play with it too much. You can see our drive shafts and our discs all turn, so that's all good. Remember, my drive shafts turn both sides because I put that shaft through, if you remember. Right, now when you look at this, it says the anti-roll bar, wherever the anti-roll bar is going to drop like that. And that's not correct, because when you look over the page, you can see, here we are, not there, here. You can see that the anti-roll bar is actually inside the chassis, so it needs to be fed through. So it's going in through there. I can't see what it actually pivots on, to be honest. Hang on, it wants to be that way up, doesn't it? So it's that end going in. So that needs to go in like that. And then be swiveled up. Here we go. You see, this is where it's been drawn, but in reality it doesn't work. I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to work out how on earth we're going to get this together, because I can't see how it's going to happen. Back in a sec. Okay then, guys, I've zoomed you in a little bit. I'm going to show you this once. If you've got one of these, you want to save this little bit of video. This has just taken me about 5 minutes to work it out. Okay, so anti-roll bar has to end up like this, with these lugs here pointing down. Okay, so we're going to put the anti-roll bar in from this end first. We've got it like that, these pointing back, lugs down. I'm going to put this side in here, like so, and come up through behind that coil. Okay, and we've got to try and get this, do all this without scratching any paint, and somehow you can wiggle it around and it will go in. It will go in with that lug. You see the camera's on now, so it won't work, will it? But it will actually go in. And you can get it to swing around. But I don't want to scratch or damage the coils or damage anything, so quite how it did it I do not remember. Oh, this is great, isn't it? There we go. Okay, it's just, you just saw what it did. I just wiggled it around and it went through, you see. Goes straight through there now, easy. You just have to get everything on the right angle. Then I'm going to bring this through like this. Okay, so it's through like this now, and you can't get it to go anymore. So what we've got to do is bring it up like this, turn it over. Okay, so it's facing down. Alright, and then we're going to lift the back up so I can swing it down. And it needs to go in between those two triangulated tubes and across. Okay, and then it's going to come straight across here and out the other side, and there we go, that's it, done. Alright, now what I'm not keen about is there's no location for it whatsoever. It's just going to sit there unless there's something we put in afterwards, I don't know. So now what we can do is just come along here and with another A screw, I'm glad to see the back of these bloody A screws. They mean trouble, they're the bad guys in the gang. So the A screw there, we'll grab the end of the anti-roll bar, put it into the, this bloody screwdriver. That, we'll put it in there like that. Oh dear. Dear, 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 dear. If I could find the bloody hole it would be helpful. Nope. There we go at last. Once again, it's tight. Every single A screw has been tight. It's probably because it's a mismatch in the holes. There we go, so just leave that like that. So there we go, so there's our anti-roll bar, and that's going to be fixed in position like that. But it's got, as I said, it's got no location whatsoever. So now we just got to strap the other side on, the same as I did with this side, and then we'll come back. I've also got a tube down here somewhere hanging off to be glued back on again. I noticed I've got one of these fuel tubes off as well. There we go, there's one there ready to fall down so it can never be retrieved. Oh no, back in a minute. Okay, so there we go, both sides all together. I've just noticed yet another cock up in these instructions. I am going to be contacting Pocher about this because this is just, these two steps are a bit of a joke. If you look, where are we? If you look here, I'll be step 22, 23, 20, here we go, 21. If you look there, that's going on there, okay, with that screw there. And then you look on this side, that one's going on there with that screw there. When you then go to step 23, you can clearly see that that arm is behind. It's behind the chassis, so it doesn't actually go there, it goes the other side of it, which is why there's a hole and a thread in the part. So what I'm going to try and do now is take this off, which is going to be easier said than done, I think. Especially on this side with that catch tank in the way. Now this screw doesn't need to come all the way out. Take this screw out of here. Okay, again I want to go and watch Pocher's. There's actually an ejector pin mark in there. I should really get rid of that. Okay, so we'll take this M1.5mm screw out of here. Again, I'm not sure this screw is going to be long enough for this. Okay, so the way this is designed to go is that is supposed to go in behind the chassis, but it's catching on the engine. I'm just looking at this. This is not easy. Okay, we'll go into the middle of the cylinder banks. If we get that in there, the length will come correct. So I'm going to put that into there. Put away screwdriver. So I'll screw that into there just to hold that in place. Now I need to zoom back out, don't I? There we go. I'm just looking here, I'm not quite sure I can hold this so you can see, but we need to manoeuvre this arm up into place. I think it's destroying all our plug leads. Oh dear, dear, dear. Yeah, it's destroying the plug leads now. So, I mean, even if you had the kit plug leads, you'd be ripping them all out. Oh dear. Let's see if I can find a way around this. Maybe put it in and twist it. It doesn't physically want to fit between the cam cover and the actual space frame. I may have just got it there. I think that could be it. Just wind that screw in again just to hold it. Otherwise, as soon as I pick it up, it will fall out. Right, pick it up. Yes, we're there. So, small screw. This is going to be fun. I got no chance of getting that in there with that screwdriver. I need to remagnetise that screwdriver. I'll be back in a minute, guys. Okay then, guys, there we go. So that's that done. And as you can see there, this arm goes in behind. The way to get them in is to put them in, slot them down next to the cam cover and then twist, and they will just pop in. There's a recess in the back. They'll just pop in, then you just put the screw in from the front. So yeah, I am going to send a fairly lengthy email. I've already sent an email of issues with these instructions. I'm going to add to it because I got to be honest, doing those two steps there, what was it, steps 21 and 22, what a bloody joke. Screws too long for there. DC3A not marked on the box. What else here? That's showing going that way. Anti-roll bar just dropping down on the top. You know, just in those two steps they got all those errors. That's terrible. But I will be in touch with them, and when the Martini one comes out, I'm sure it will be corrected. Right, let's get and write an email. Okay, email written. So I think I might take these arms off again and do those ejector pin marks. We'll see. But anyway, there's our big old chassis there, ready to go. So we're looking here now at step 23. And we're going to add these rear, these are actual, believe it or not, these are parcel trays. They had to be capable of carrying luggage, have a spare wheel and a passenger seat. So that's hence you've got the tiny little seat, you've got the tiny little wheel, and you've got these two trays at the back where they could actually put a regulation size suitcase, had to go there, or two of them or something. So that was some of the regs they used to have to stick to. So I've got these parts here, we've got these parts here, these are DCD, these are the shafts. You can see they're in here, DCD 24, DCD 8, and that's there. So they're good to go. We've got these main panels here. Now these have a a very plastic look to them. Now generally you will find that on the 917s these are left in that kind of yellow, you know, this kind of yellow fiberglass colour. I've just knocked that pipe off now. You can't touch these bloody things. That was one of my suggestions, was to use a different hose, something that will actually glue better. But every time I touch one of these pipes, it just falls off. It's just really annoying. So these need to be painted with a sort of semi-gloss black. I'll probably just do them with Mr. Servicer, to be honest. And we've got some ejector pin marks on there to go as well. So I'll get all that dealt with. We've also got some in there. They're going to be hidden by those tubes. I know they're underneath, but I just like to get rid of them. Like I say, I'll probably get rid of them. We also have these rear lights being fitted. Now this is something that I think we can spend a bit of time looking at. As you can see, we have these lights and they are pre-coloured, which is great, which is absolutely wonderful. It saves us getting all our clear coloured paints out. And they are lovely, really, really nice. Now, one of the issues there is they're going on the back. Now, I don't need to pick the model up and show you, but you can see that if I put these onto a black background, they just look lifeless and black. So we want to actually get some reflector detail going in there. Now, from the Lamborghini, I've still got this tape. So I am going to take my little cutting mat here, and I'm going to see if I can make a couple of indentations where the, I'm not worried about the lettering there, because we're going to have it the other way round. Just wondering if I can, yeah, there we go. Just wondering if I can push this down and make a mark. Yes, we can. So I can push it down and make a mark where the pins are going to come through. Dotty throwing her toys around. Okay. So that one can be moved over a bit, actually, to be honest. Now maybe those pins will stick through there now. Now what I do, I need to get a little punch out and punch some holes in there. So let me get that done. Okay, so those holes are punched out now. I'm not going to show you my hole punch. It's absolutely pointless because it's about 30 years old and you can't get them anymore. If you want to get a hole punch, just have a look around. There's loads of different ones. I don't even know the names of the manufacturers now. But there we go. So I've punched the holes through there rather than try and drill them. So what we're going to do now is take this tape and I'm going to cut it. So I'm going to cut it there. Did that cut? No, it didn't. Looks like it's quite strong. Cut it off there, cut it off there. Okay, so we've got that separate there. Right, so now without touching it, and the reason I'm using the back of it is because it's not as reflective as that side and it doesn't have the lettering on it. So what I can do is just stick that. In fact, what I'm going to do here, I can see where it's punched through, we've got a bit of a something going on there. There's a little lump of something. So I'm going to get rid of that. And then I'm going to put this on here. And push the pins through the holes. There we go, just like so. That's gone through there. There we go, and if we push them up against something flat, use the back of the tweezers. In fact, what we could do is push it onto the model itself. And that should make sure it goes down nice and flat. There we go. And then all we've got to do is trim, and you can see that now, because of that, if I put these on this black plastic again, just to show you the difference, you can see how this one is kind of bright like a light and that one's all just like a dark piece of plastic. So that's why I've done that. Okay, now hopefully we'll have enough there to do the martini one as well when that arrives. cut that out of there. Get that off of there. Check there's nothing on there. There are no deposits or anything. So that's going to go in that one. That's going to go into that one. Once again, I'm going to put it on the model and just dry fit it in place. Push it on, and that way the pins are going into the hole, so it's getting a nice good push around the pins, so we don't get any standoff. Okay, so I'm going to put that back over there for now. Right, now we've got to somehow trim this off of here. Now I've got my little decal scissors. We should be able to trim this backing off of here with ease. Easier said than done, but it is coming off. Yeah, the pins are really close to the edge, so what's happening is pushing the scissors away. So what I think I'll do here is get these god hands, because these are designed for going right up to the edge. There we go. You can see now our lights look a little bit more authentic. Okay, so I'll get the other one done and then move along from there. I'm probably going to paint a black, there would have been a rubber band around here as well, so I'm probably going to paint a black edge on there after they're glued in place. So we'll get those cleaned up and then I'll be back. And we're back. So rear lights are glued in. And these pegs have been on for about 12 hours. It's been left overnight. So there we go. It's going to be very difficult to show you these, but hopefully you can see with that chrome in there, it gives them a bit more life. When you look straight through them, they're just sort of dead. But when you look at them directly like that, you can see the brightness in there. So that's good. I did turn a droppy super glue on the pins and just glue them in with the pins rather than try and put glue around the whole thing and risk fogging them up. You can see them there. You can see there they catch the light quite nicely. So that's a little mod worth doing if you haven't got any of that tape from the Lamborghini or whatever, then you can get that aluminium tape that they use on ducts and stuff in factories. You could use that. Right. So what are we? Step 23. So here we have these parts here, these parcel shelves. I've painted those. As you can see now, they're done in the Mr. Surfacer, so they look much better than just the bare plastic. So I would say that's something that's really worth doing. So we're just going to cut these off here roughly. Okay, and then we'll cut here. We'll cut here. There we go. Put a screw in the bin. And then I'm going to grab my god hands, which you can get yourself from Brooks Models. And these are designed to cut very, very flush on stuff like this, as long as you use them the right way round. I've done displaying that in lots of videos. But they are expensive, but they are worth it. And don't forget, you can lessen the load a bit if you spend between £15 and £50. You can use the code NMB10. You get 10% off. So there we are. So those nibs are left. That's absolute minimum. So I don't really have to go in there and start sanding. That's the main thing. Oh, I do on that one, I think. Maybe I'll see if I can trim it with a knife. If I start sanding, as you know, when you sand plastic, it tends to leave a lighter coloured patch behind. So there we go. Right, so that's those cleaned up. Now, I'm assuming what we're going to do is screw these in first. Well, that's going to be fun. How on earth are we supposed to get to that screw there? Okay, so there's going to be a screw up under there, which is a N screw. Assuming. Yeah, that's an N screw under there, and then we've got an F screw going down from the top. So this is literally going to drop into there like that. I'm looking for how that's going to fit in there. Okay, it doesn't want to go forward in there because it needs to go in the front of that side plate there, which is extremely difficult to get it under. There we go. Right. So we are not going to get a screw in there, no way. So we best just leave it. So we need an N screw to go up underneath. Grab our screwdriver, grab a screw. This has got a nice big flange on it, this one. Okay, and we'll lift the back of the chassis up. In fact, we're probably better off going sideways. It's becoming so awkward and you've got to be so careful. You touch these bloody silicone pipes and they pop off. You've just got to be so careful not to touch anything. As I mentioned, I have suggested to Pocher they change the tubing they're using because it is a complete and utter nightmare. Those clear tubes on the top with the fuel, you just literally touch and they pop off. I don't know if you guys have had the same, let me know. I know one of you commented you replaced them all on your kit. So there we go. I've also suggested they give us bigger pins to locate them. It's like with the Tamiya kits, you just put them on the pin and leave them. You don't need to glue them. But some of the pins, especially when it comes to the plug leads, you know, they're absolutely tiny. Now this one's going to pop on here, and this is going to be a lot easier, this one, he says. Is that going to go down behind there? Yes, it's gone in, right. And that one's lined up on there, so we need an F screw for here. So we can put an F screw in there. If it's going to go in, it's a bit misaligned. There we go, that's gone in. So that's pulling the front down, and then we need an end screw for the back. So we'll get ourselves preloaded and then lift up the mammoth task of lifting it up because it's so bloody huge. And we'll get a screw. I know you can't see what I'm doing, can you? We'll get a screw into there. This is going to be one of the big problems now with this build. It's because it's so big, it's keeping you on shot all the time. Because obviously as soon as I lift it up, you know, you'll think of it as a big pyramid where the camera lens is to where I'm working. And there we go, so that's that held in like that. Right, so we can drop this down. So now we've got parts here. We've got tubes you're going in, so we've got DCD24. So DCD24 is the longer of the two. Come on. That's the shorter one. That's DCD8. Really careful with these things. You pop them open, all the bits come flying out. So we need some tweezers here. Right. So DCD24 is the longer one. That's going on this side, so it's going to go into a hole. Where's the hole? Up under there. Up under there? That's up there. How can we go from there to in there? That's not right. There must be a hole. They're trying to say that this tube has got to go into a hole up there. Well, if that's the case, there's no way the wheel's going to fit. It's got to be outside because it's got a hole there. It's got to stay outside. So okay, so that's pins too big for that hole. That one fits. So I can only assume, lift it up again, yeah, you can see where it's going to go, it's there. And once again, the instructions are wrong. It's saying that this pin, it's saying that this is going to go up under there. It's not, it's going in there. It's fitting there, not there. It can't physically go in there. In fact, there's even a cutout here. You can see there's even a cutout here for it to go in. Now it may be that this will go in with no glue. Right, that's gone in that hole. Pull that down. Right, that's how that's got to be fitted. You've got to literally get it in the hole and then lever it down. It takes a bit of force. And now this end, it's got to go into a hole down here. I'm just wondering if it's going to sort of clip into place and it won't need gluing. There you go. That doesn't need to be glued. Okay, you're never going to put enough force on it to make it fall out or anything, so I would leave that unglued. Right, let's swing it around. If you do care about your bench, be warned, with this model now as it is, all the rear suspension parts are digging down into the, you can see they're leaving all scratches on here. Again, this is going to be a nightmare. So we've got to get that up under there. There's a recess in the lower chassis. So we can push that down. Need a piece of wood or something. I need a round, flat-ended piece of wood so I can get it to go in. Oh, I've bloody scratched it now. There we go, that's gone in. I've scratched it. Let's see how much of it we can see, but you can see that that one is an extremely tight fit to go in there. Again, it doesn't need gluing. So that's in like that. So that's that all done. So we've done the rear lights, we've done those bars, and we've done the fender trays. I'm not going to do this. I'll tell you for why, because I'm going to spray all the inside of the body grey, which is how it should be. So I'm not going to do that yet, because here, it's very funny how these instructions dart around it. You're working in this area, then you go to the body, and then you're back in this area. Now I can only think it's so that you, because this is doing decals, and this, I think they're telling you to do this so that you can let the decals dry while you're doing this. But I'm going to go on and do this area here. So these two tubes here, they're already in. Remember, I put those in before so we could blend everything in. We've got the spare wheel. Now the spare wheel is over here, still on its sprue. Got a little valve H15 to go in, so I've already done that. So we can take this off of its sprue, like so, and take our tyre. Now I'm not going to rough the tyre tread up because this obviously wouldn't be used. This would have been a new tyre that wouldn't be used. So that is literally going to fit over there, but it does have a mould seam around the middle. Let's just grab an old 400. I've just ordered some new sanding sticks from Brooks Models. Get the Infini ones, the best sanding sticks on the planet in my opinion. If you see what I mean when I said earlier about sanding, you tend to leave a lighter coloured dust behind because the dust is lighter in colour. So that's okay. Right, so we're going to push this over here. It's quite a tight fit, but it does go. There we are. So there's lovely, see? Alright, and then that is going to be glued. You've got a D-shaped hole in here, you've got a D-shaped peg there, so that is going to fit. It's going to fall on the floor. That is going to fit over that D-shaped peg there. I'm not sure of how good a fit it is, if it needs to be glued or not. Yeah, it needs to be glued. It's like a prick in a top hat. In fact, we can actually leave it loose because we're going to be strapping it down, aren't we? I think what I'll do is just put a drop on there. That's where it's going to sit on that sort of peg, and I'll put some around here just to help it. Wiggle it around a bit, get the glue doing its thing. There we go. So that's that glued in. It's a shame it's not a tighter fit. If it was a tighter fit, you just press it on. Okay, we'll see how that goes. And then we've got this centre cap to go on. So I've got to open this bloody tray again. And we've got this whole tray now just for one part. We've got DCD 22. And I'm not exactly sure where that's going to go, but I think what we might do is look in the instructions to see where it goes. And if we can, we'll fit it now. I need another drop of super glue. This is the 4PE. This is a new bottle. So I'll put a drop of this on here. Okay, and then I'm going to get my cocktail stick. And I'm going to put some more down the bottom. And let that run and around and do its thing. And then here, I'm just going to put some on here. I'm not putting any on the diameter, only on the face. Don't put any on the diameter because it'll just rub it off as it goes down. And then that is going to drop into there like that. Okay, so there's our spare tyre held in place. Lovely. Right. So this part here, DCD22, the DCD21 there, which I've already fitted, that's the bracket for the rear stay, I think. DCD22. Oh, I'll find it later. If I can, I'll put it on. If not, we'll have to keep that whole plastic tray or just keep the part. So yeah, so next thing we've got to do is this strap, and then we're going to fit this roll bar here, which I think was a later addition. And I'm not going to glue that in because I think we might need to remove that to fit the cover for the engine. But there we go. So that's all looking lovely, isn't it? What a beautiful looking model we've got. So there we are. Right, I'm going to go and add to my list the instructions with those bars telling us to fit them wrongly. So I will see you all back next week for part 40. No, this, I'm thinking of the Mustang. This was 15, wasn't it? So it's going to be part 16 next. Thank you for watching. Bye for now. Just quickly, guys, I've discovered where DCD22 goes in. There's Dotty. DCD22 fits into the rear clamshell here. So what I've done, I've just put it in the box here with the spare where the screws are. So I know that, so I can now put this great big plastic tray in the recycling. And slowly but surely the packaging is getting reduced down to a normal size box, so we can get that great big box off the landing. Right, see you soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.